New joy.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, Jonathan.
How are you?
I'm good. And
Welcome.
you? Thank you very much.
So good to have you here. How was the session?
It was good. Less painful than I thought, I have to say. So very easy, actually.
Great. That's good to know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and for your trust.
Of course.
What are we going to talk about today?
A lot, I guess.
A lot.
I think we're going to be quite spontaneous. But we have one topic we want to talk about, and that's
The
sober
topic
raving.
is sober raving. Sober raving in the techno scene
Yes.
in Berlin. Tell us about it. How is it?
I think as cool as non-sober raving, but yeah. So I have to say I drink alcohol, so not sober. But yeah, to be honest, I never took any drugs, so I don't have the comparison, I would say. But I think I had as much fun as people that
Everyone
took
else.
I have to say I'm really glad that I have enough energy and power to also rave the whole night. So no problems with that. So yeah, it's actually a lot of fun though.
That sounds like it as well. Like, I mean, it's very impressive when you think that the parties are going on for literally days. In Berlin, you can rave like over Saturday night into the Sunday until the Monday, depends on what club we're talking about, the ones we met. And yeah, tell us about it. Like, how was it for you at the beginning? Have you had interest in doing drugs maybe? Have you tried? You just said no, but like, tell us about all these experiences.
Yeah, so I would say it started back then in my hometown when I started like going out and partying and stuff.
Where are you from?
Near to Cologne, I would say.
Okay.
My mom is from Cologne, so I'm not allowed to say that I'm from close to Düsseldorf. People, Germans know, I guess.
Don't be that kind of German.
Yeah. But yeah, so close to Cologne. And I would say it also started in Cologne. I have an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also still living there. And yeah, the first parties I went to, took place in Cologne. And there, of course, also the first touch points, let's say, with drugs or raving parties, took place. So back then I was very young, and I'm a very, let's say, correct person. So for me, it was just like illegal, and that's why I was like, no, you can't do this. It's
not
illegal.
Not gonna do that. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, of course, now it's very different. But I think that's how it started, kind of, and then a lot of people around me started to take drugs. Also, if it's just it started with weed, I would say. But yeah. I never had interest back then to try it. But then when I came to Berlin, of course, I started to be a little bit more interested in it. But yeah, for some reason, and I cannot explain why, I never did it in the end. So I was so close.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was so close.
What situation were you in? What is a close situation?
Joining people on the toilet when they are taking drugs, for example.
That is like voyeurism.
Yeah. So you're there and you think like, people are having fun. People are so like energized, and
they offer
it
you
also
something.
Seems to like feel, I don't know, you feel more, maybe you feel more happy. As said, more energized or whatever. So of course it is interesting, but I think the music and the people around me also gave me that same energy. So I was always saying then, I was close, but I was saying like, come on.
But that shows that you were with the right people if they don't force you to do anything and even like just nicely propose you. I mean, that's super respectful of them.
Yeah, and I never had that experience, to be honest, that someone said to me, hey, come on, do it. So people are always super interested in it and also always asking why, but no one was ever saying, yeah, you should do it, or
this is something we hear a lot though in our scene. Just like people that, hey, why don't you do it? And like you're just like not the uncool person because like it's not a trend necessarily, but like it's very present, especially in big cities. It doesn't matter if it's like Berlin, London, or Paris or Amsterdam, but like in big, Berlin is pretty heavy about the drug use.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I think it also depends on how you react to these questions.
Okay.
And I think because I was very strong in my decision and also was able to kind of reasoning it, no one ever tried to force me or anything like that.
And I guess it's always a different situation with the kind of person you're going to the toilets. Like, how was it? Was like people you knew, close friends, people you just met, mixed? I guess in all these years of partying, must have been a lot of different occasions.
Yeah, very different, I would say. Like back then, when I was younger, I would say everyone, but I think we kind of grow up also.
Of course.
So I don't mix it that much anymore. But now it's more like close friends, I have to say. And of course they know, because they know me since years. So no one is ever asking. So I'm just there. And
so you hold the drinks?
Yes. But now I also skip toilets, to be honest, because I think back then you more had the feeling, okay, you have to experience everything. So you have to be with your friends every second. And now it's different. And also, of course, now I know more people also. And you're not only with your small
friends that you're going out. Yeah, sure.
Your 2 friends. No.
5 was ambitious.
Yeah. I don't have that much friends. No, but so you can do other things. Plus, I also do really like to be to walk around in a club by myself.
That's an amazing thing, right? It's like going on an adventure.
Yeah. Anni the Explorer.
But alone, on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I really like it. Yeah. Yeah, but so I can be by myself, let's say, and I don't need that anymore to be with my friends every second. So I can also skip that now. But of course, back then, as said, you also you're together with people that you don't know. Maybe, don't get me wrong. Also now there are people I don't know that much, but I think, as said back then, you want to be cool.
Yeah.
And now I don't have
to be cool
anymore.
You don't care.
Because I am. No, just
kidding.
But,
I mean, that's why.
No, but I don't have the need to show I'm cool. So.
Okay. Oh, it's also a nice thing, like to go alone. Like I'm the same. I really like to go alone on an adventure on the club. Like when my friends are going to the toilet, so I just want to go and dance on the other floor or something like this. And this is like a huge advantage we have in Berlin, is like to have huge clubs with thousands of people in different floors, and it's like it's the real festival feeling somehow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, also, as said, more and more people, and also people are hanging around in different spots or on different dance floors.
Right.
And sometimes you also want to talk about different things or to other people, so it's nice to like change spots every now and then. Yeah, nice. And I'm bored pretty fast, so also using that as
the excuse.
Yes.
So what does your party look like when you go out?
I would say normally the first step after like going to the code check, blah blah blah. First step is always the bar. But now I'm not drinking even, so it's not that.
Why?
But yeah, water. Yeah, you
Dry
need
January.
something to drink
Yeah,
every
yeah.
always.
Right.
Even if it's water or any alcohol-free drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it always starts with meeting people. And often I go out with my best friend, and it's sometimes very exhausting to be with him because he knows everyone I know, I think. So you can walk 2 meters and then he meets someone new. So yeah. And then it takes its own dynamic, I have to say. Sometimes I'm chatting a lot. Sometimes I'm also dancing a lot. Yeah, it's very different, I have to say.
What makes you dance?
Music.
So you go to clubs. What floor are we talking about? The house floor, the disco floor?
Both, actually.
Both?
Yeah.
Both.
I just learned to love techno as well. I was always loving disco and house. But now I also like the hard stuff.
The Rambazamba?
The Rambazamba. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where can we find you in Berlin? What is the party to go?
I will not tell you because then people will find me.
Yeah, okay. Fair. And you've been living in Berlin for a pretty long time now. You're going to be a proper Berliner this year.
Yes.
10 years.
10 years, yeah.
How
in
was
July.
it? Yeah, wow. How was it for you? 10 years is an impressive experience for someone who is not from Berlin.
Yeah, it went pretty fast, I have to say. So for all of you that are now in the dark winter, you will survive. Actually, I survived 10 times now, and it was okay. No, just joking. But as said, it was pretty fast. I can remember the first winters here, the first times I went out. And now it's 10 years. It's crazy.
So the winter is a pretty big thing here. How does it impact the club? Like the clubs, or like the club culture, or like how are you going to the club? Do you see a difference of the summer, spring, or autumn?
Yeah, of course you have more variance in parties, I would say, because in summer you also have all the open air events taking place, or any outside raves in any parks or whatever. So I think there is a big difference, and also you have all the festivals taking place. I mean, there are a few festivals also in winter, but yeah, I think that is the first difference. Then it's a bit annoying with your big winter jacket and stuff, because inside it's warm, and then you come in and you have to.
You can't show your cool clothes.
Yeah, shit. Not outside of the club, so the people outside don't know how cool you look. That's very annoying. But I think it's in summer or spring, also in autumn, it's always a bit easier to go out.
I see.
You're a bit more spontaneous and don't have to like plan being in the cold or take any more stuff with you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like winter in Berlin, to have to stay in the line with temperature next to 0 is not necessarily fun, especially with the shitty rain.
Yeah,
we mostly have. Yeah, it's a big thing. But I personally really like the raves, so like parties between January and February. It was also like the kind of slow beginning in the year, and always like going slowly, but like very qualitative lineups with locals, because like just as you said, like there is less people going out. So the people who went out, like who go out, they really want to go out. I personally had very, very good experiences in the past years. How was it for you?
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah, I was just thinking about this January, and I think, you're right. You meet more people that are also interested in music, maybe, are also going to parties not because they want to like take drugs and get fucked. but also to really
Enjoy the music.
enjoy the music. Maybe also to meet friends or stuff like that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the club scene has a very various aspect, like with all these things, like you just mentioned, sex, drugs, and music. And yeah, you can literally, like, these are like clubs are playground for adults. How did you, for someone that came from Köln to Berlin, what are the differences between the region from Köln and Berlin?
So I would say Cologne people are. I always experience them as a big family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I also have my Berlin family, but they are closer together, I would say, also maybe because it's a smaller city
Sure.
than Berlin and it's not that anonymous as Berlin is. So everyone knows everyone, I feel like. And yeah, they're also helping out each other for is it parties or whatever. So they're really planning a lot of stuff together. So I think there are a big community, whilst in Berlin you have smaller and more communities maybe.
It's interesting. How do you see these? Like, it's more about concurrence, or it's because like there is so many different communities that they're not necessarily working together?
It's not that I think that they would not work together in Berlin. I think it's more because the city is super big and also has like a big offer, let's say. So different scenes. And I think there are maybe sometimes also only small differences between the scenes, let's say, or the clubs people are going to. And also maybe they're playing the same DJs as in other clubs, but still the people are like a bit different and maybe, I don't know.
How is the music in Köln? Like, do you have also a different offer? Is there a typical Kölner sound? What tell us?
I don't want to say anything wrong here, but I can just like speak from my experience. So the friends group of my brother, let's say, they are more in the direction of a lot of disco, funky sounds. Also funky house music, like everyone is happy. Whilst you have in Berlin the techno scene and everyone's looking angry,
cool
and serious. Yeah. So I would say there's a tiny difference between that. Tiny one. More happy music, I would say. Even though I'm pretty sure there's also a big techno scene in Cologne, but I'm not experiencing that a lot. So,
what's the address to go in Cologne?
The what? Sorry.
The address. What's the club? What's the place to be?
Oh, that's a good question. I know my brother and friends, no advertisement, are always having a party on Thursdays in Das Scheueree.
Okay.
It's a bar actually, but I went there last year and the vibe was super, super nice. I was so surprised about like how happy is everyone, and everyone was like jumping around and had fun. Cool. And like it was very, very nice experiencing that. Yeah.
All right. And there is other clubs like Art Theater. Do you know about it?
Yes, but never been there.
Okay, all right. I only heard good things. That's why I'm asking.
So let's go there.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Or could do maybe something with them, like if you guys are in. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe I can connect.
Hey, let's see. Let's see.
But did you also go out in Cologne?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have something planned, something big. I'm not going to say anything more, but Cologne is probably going to be on the menu for this year. Nice. I have a big collaboration announced soon. Very nice people. They come to Berlin as well. It's going to be a solid project and collaboration. Really looking forward to talk and to say a little bit more about it. But right now it's secret.
Top secret.
It's top secret. Exactly.
Nice. Cool. Looking forward to that episode or whatever it will be.
Oh, maybe episodes even plural. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be cool.
Nice.
So we're talking about the difference between Köln or Cologne and Berlin. How, like, there is a big thing that all of us observed on the dance floor is the change of the clothing and the attitude. Like you talked about the cool kids before, about the attitude that go with it. You don't need to go and to be dressed in black, especially not to go to a techno party. Like why is it here like this? How is it in Köln?
I would say it's very different. So in Köln, the motto is more like come as you are, and don't wear something that you wouldn't wear normally.
Subject.
Yeah, and I also remember like hear my brother saying when I lived here, I think I would say like 2 to 3 years or something. And he, for example, said back then that he's not interested in going, for example, to Berghain or something because he don't want to dress like everyone else there, and it's not him, actually. But I think that changed also back to. I'm not talking about my brother anymore now, more about the dress code, let's say. I think many people are still doing that, but I think many people also recognize that it's not necessary to look like everyone else or to wear black or leather or be half naked or whatever. So I think that also changed here in Berlin again. But yeah, there's the difference because I think the party tourism is still focusing on that. So they are still thinking that they need to wear black, or if they're going to Sisyphos, for example, they need to be a bit more colorful, for example. Yeah. Or I think there are different spots with different
dress codes.
Which is actually very funny, I think. If you would mix them, like, but it's funny because if you would mix these people, these like typical people, like how people would see them, people from Berlin could say where they belong to, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can literally like put the crowds together, like playing memory, literally.
I think, as you said, like back to social media, of course, it gets more obvious to people. People are posting it on social media, posting also more like free, I would say. They're showing themselves half naked in the internet, which everyone has to decide themselves, right? But they are doing it today, which you couldn't show before because you didn't have the platform for it. And as we said, like in winter, no one would see it, right? Sure. Because you would sit there or stand there with your jacket on. So no one from outside that never been to that club would see that. And now people can see that because it's open for everyone. And maybe this is also why people now categorize and know where to go because...
Yeah. But it's interesting because like that part's actually make people, especially young people, the younger generation, think that this is how you're supposed to look like to go into these clubs, but they don't understand where it comes from, what impact this has, and what they're wearing. Yeah.
I also had a very interesting conversation a few weeks ago about that many people are also like wearing these harnesses or other things that are actually symbols for a fetish, for example, and they're wearing it and don't know what it actually means. But that's also very, very interesting how it gets more commercial.
That's a big problem, I think. Yeah, just as you said, like then you have like young guys wearing chokers, not even knowing what they're wearing, and running around in clubs thinking they're cool, and just because they saw on Instagram and thinking that everything like that is cool and you have to do it to be there, to be part of the group. We've talked about being cool before. Yeah. How could we educate this young generation? What would be like, how would you talk to someone where you see, okay, this person is not feeling comfortable in that outfit, so what does he or she do it?
You mean in the club?
Yeah,
Like,
I think so. Like, I'm just a concrete situation, not even because Instagram, like you're hiding behind the screen somehow. Like it's easy for you to show who you like the perfect version of yourself, but when you see like this happens so many times already, that when you see people online and then you see them in reality, and it's like Big Mac publicity. Like it looks
yeah.
super cool on the picture, but then you have it on the like in reality, and it's like a totally different person.
Mm. Yeah, that's very interesting, but I don't know. I mean, people should be comfortable with what they're wearing, but also, as you said, some people you really recognize they don't. So yeah, but I think it's also not the best way then to go to them saying like, "Hey, you don't have to do that, babe."
No. That's not get me wrong. That's what I'm saying. Is like how could we do it? Like what would be the solution to that to make like that everyone at the end is spending a good time and a good party, because social media has an impact on its own crowd, on the club crowd.
Maybe we should have an Instagram account, the real clubbing dress code. No, I'm just joking. Then it's again a dress code, right?
Yeah.
It's a really, really good question. I don't have an answer to that now, but I will think about it.
I'm sure we're going to be able to talk about it in different podcasts with different people. Yeah, we have a list of solid groups and teams of people that are specialists in that team. So we're going to speak about it more in details in the future. If you have anything to say about that, please leave a comment. We're going to talk about it in there. So in those 10 years of Berlin, you've seen a lot, especially different outfits. What did you observe? What is the evolution?
So I think wearing black was a topic already 8 years ago. So I think also remembering going back to my hometown, people were asking me the same, and also they were always saying like, I heard you have to wear black when you go out. So, okay. But back then I believed it myself. But
we've all did.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what happened is it got more naked, and also what we have discussed before, more in the direction of wearing things that you would normally maybe wear in terms of or in connection with any fetish or whatever. So that people are more open to wear that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I think that changed from my perspective a lot. I think in different clubs, it also depends a lot. But I think in some clubs, it got more in this direction of what you would normally see on fetish parties, that people start wearing that also on normal occasions.
So kind of appropriation of the fetish culture by the mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good description.
A sad one as well, I think. Like it's personal opinion, of course, but I would research properly before I would wear something.
Yeah, I think, and also that's something we have talked about a lot already, the both of us, is education is a big thing there. So people are maybe not enough educated in these topics. Maybe also we should start something there.
We're going to talk about it maybe today, maybe another podcast, like fetish clothing and all the appropriation is going to be a big theme.
Yeah. And I think this is something, as said, that people are not very educated in, and they just adapt it because they saw it on TikTok and Instagram, where influencers are wearing these kinds of things, and then people are just also copying it and start wearing it because they think it's cool. And now we are back to this topic of trying to be cool and not just be yourself and.
So you wear the same fetish clothes as you go to the toilets, doing the same drugs as your friend. This is how you start. And can you make it till 10 years in Berlin, or do you have to go home because you became a total fuck up? In the meantime, this happens a lot as well, like excess over consummation.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And that's also when we are going back to this topic of being sober. I also told you about that there was a time of where I was interested in it, or I had a certain extent of interest. But with all, or with the time, also seeing people not having that under control. Be it friends or people I know, or be it the people you see on parties. That's something also that hold me back. I'm not particularly saying that everyone is like that, but please don't get me wrong here. I think there are a lot of people that have the awareness and also doing it in a very controlled way, and that's totally fine and super okay. But I also saw the sad opposite of that. So
are we talking about regular parties and guests, or about specific occasion from some people?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can like, some people are maybe in a bad life phase or whatever. Maybe people are just partying too much. But yeah, I think it's everything. Yeah.
But that's the thing as well. Like, it's interesting. You made how do you say? You told us about the bad experiences that bring people to do more drugs, but there is also a lot of people that have a very good time and they do more drugs because they're more euphoric.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
great.
This is like a circle, and this can also bring like to some problem as well, like a misconsumption of some products.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think both ways can happen, and I'm not against drugs, but I don't want to take them myself. Not like, of course, there are a lot of experiences and a lot of reasons, but I cannot like name this one reason. That's because I'm not taking drugs.
You don't need
to. No, I don't need to. I know, but this is also something I need to learn, right? Because I was very young when I came to Berlin, and some people also think. Or there's always this one sentence: "What, you're living in Berlin and you don't take drugs?" And it's like, yes.
Stop saying that. It's like, you don't need to do drugs.
Yeah, but this is a sentence I heard so many times. Very, very interesting though. But yeah, now I'm talking about the darker sides of this. But of course, there are a lot of good experiences also with people taking drugs.
Over these 10 years, there was 2 years of Corona, a small break in all the party madness, let's call it like this. We talked about the bad times and the consume, the access. How did you see it? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so as you said, like, I had a party break right before Corona, let's say. So I don't have the direct cut between non-Corona and Corona, and then back after the pandemic. But I think, like, when I started partying again, which was after the pandemic actually, I really had the feeling that people were like going crazy. And it's like, okay, we are partying until tomorrow or the day after, we don't care. Like the
time is now.
The time is now. Yeah, exactly. So people really, or it got really excessive. Is that the right word? I think so.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word.
Yeah, be it with consume, or be it anything else, like partying long or a lot. I think many people really went out and like took any party
they could.
They could. Yeah.
For a little explanation, a lot of people don't know that in Germany we had 2 lockdowns, even 3. We had 3 lockdowns in total, and like the government decided to close the clubs down for quite a long time, over months, and clubs, bars, restaurants, and many other types of businesses were closed, and this made the people, just as Anna said, like partied harder when it opened again. So the first months, especially the 6 first months, brought us to the actual consume of different products, and the consume is totally different than it was before Corona. We talked about excess. We talked about different drugs. There is one especially that is going on right now. It's a big problem in the scene. It's G. We're not gonna develop more on that today, but we will definitely do a podcast about it with some specialists. I will keep you updated.
Yeah, and like as you said, I think people, which is completely understandable, that people wanted to have their old life back or want to experience like meeting a lot of people again. I also know a lot of people that were still quite scared to go out because too many people in one place or without wearing a mask. I mean, we got used to wearing a mask when we were between a lot of people. But I think I was surprised about the fact that a lot, or most of the people really got back to normal very, very soon, like very fast.
We missed it, all of us.
Yeah, of course. But I thought that people were more scared still, or a little bit more
Prudent?
Yeah. But it came back like a big boom.
Well, the thing is, as we already talked a lot during this podcast, is the consume. Yeah. Once you do something, doesn't matter if it's a line or if it's a few drinks, you get loose. Yeah. You feel the vibe, you have the music, you're back into the old vibe, just as you perfectly explained. And this puts you in this context of like being back to the reality, which we were cut for a very long time. Yeah. Plus, I don't know how it was in different countries next to Germany and Switzerland, where I'm from. It was like the government, like especially German government, like put a kind of big pressure, I think, on many businesses. Or we as tattooer, we work in a very clean environment, which is disinfected and clean almost every day, to talk about most of the studios. And it was very frustrating as well, like to be like we just do our job. We didn't even had to do it more than we do, and we cut to of our reality. So it's no wonder that then you want to kind of get everything you didn't had the chance to live back when the club reopened. I mean, the first parties were total mayhem, like in a good way. Yeah. It was really, really good to see all these people, like all the friends at once. And it wasn't
I experienced that as well, as you said, like this getting loose and people are I remember that at the first party you had to wear a mask on the dance floor, right? And when you sit down you were able to take it off. It was very interesting experience as well, but you also saw that people are not really, or that you forget about it like very, very easily if you're back to like having fun and to your normal habitat of
absolutely
how you do partying. Very funny to think back to that very weird situation.
I remember that one rave we went. It was in a hostel and next to. I'm not gonna mention the station, but it was a dope party, very, very fun. If it was legal, I don't remember even if it was legal, but it was very fun. The thing is, we had that rule, so like the organizer made an amazing job. They followed all the rules the government asked for. It was the first summer after the first lockdown. But we had to wear masks outside when we were not sitting on tables. So they had a very nice lounge area, terrace with all this, and outside dance floor. So on the first hour, the people were wearing the mask. Oh, even 45 minutes or half an hour, well, I'm not going to lie to you. And the mask just disappeared. Like, how do you want to just like even just if you have nonsense, like just a normal sense, people are not going to wear the mask outside when it's June.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the government was thinking like that, and that especially like after closing like putting us together in like apartments for that long time without anyone knowing what was properly happening. Now we know that you can't expect a society to work normally, just like to do what the governments ask if it's like nonsense, like in some way. Like the idea was good, but since we didn't know about the disease yet, it was like kind of like, as I said like before, the government wanted to scare us more, and it was more scary than effective at the end, because a lot of people got the virus and it was not too bad. For others it was more, it was worse.
Yeah, but I think like I think I can speak for many other people. I was super happy that we had the chance to go out again, even though you had to wear a mask. You just did it because this was opening up, like getting back to normal a little bit. And you came closer and closer, and of course then I don't know how you experienced that, but the time or the point when you didn't have to wear masks anymore in clubs, I don't really remember that hard cut where you didn't have to wear it anymore, because we had this like before getting loose, and then you maybe forget to take it back on, but I don't remember this one day when you
mean it was back to normal pretty rapidly?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I experienced that well.
Yeah, but it was not that present.
It was the kind of feeling of the back to the old days. Like the vibe was there, the people were the same. Very happy to be back together. How many of my friends told me like, hey, there was so many people we knew from earlier, from before the pandemic, and it was so nice to see them again, even if you're not friends. Then we talked about all this kind of cool attitude you have on the dance floor. And then at a certain point, the masks fell down and you could see the human behind it. Because it's like, hey, we are the scene. We are the scene together as a group, as a community. And it's nice because you are here and you are here and we are here together doing the same thing and enjoying the same music and having the same time. Which is kind of like back to normal, cool attitude, like different cool attitude now. But like, this was like the start, the reopening of the clubs was amazing, to be honest. Yeah. Like this 9 months or a little less before, like between the first and the second lockdown, that was a solid period of partying.
Nice. But I also remember like the first festivals. And we had one, like we were with a big group of friends. And there was this like rules, you had to be vaccinated and tested, and they really, but I'm super happy with like the concepts people were really building around that. So they made it happen that we could do all this, right? Because people really put effort in these kinds of things, making it possible to go back to normal. And this first festival we went to with a big group of friends, we also had this one rule, and this one rule was Corona will not be a topic. If you say that word, you have to like leave actually, because we don't want to hear it anymore.
Sure.
And this whole weekend, now in the retrospective, we also said afterwards, like it was so nice that we got back to normal. No one was saying that word anymore. No one was talking about it anymore. And it felt so good this weekend. To be back to normal again.
It's kind of Voldemort vibe.
Yeah. Is it?
It is. It was clearly. But I think again, like you see now the pressure that it puts on everyone, especially like in the culture, like how many theaters, cinemas, whatever had to close down. This is like this proper culture that brings people together and like make them experience some things that they don't have like in their normal life. I mean, how like most of the society is working in a 9 to 5 and jobs where they do not have what's the English word again? Like the balance that you need to be happy in your life. And we as artists do have, a lot of us have the chance to experience it every day but if you can't do your job and like you close the opportunity of the other people that to go to these things, like for example the DJs that can't play and people who don't have like this creative like balance like jobs where they need the balance and they can't go to their parties like just to watch a movie or to go to the theater or whatever. This drove so many people mad.
Yeah. I can completely understand that, and I also, as you said, like people experience that in a very different way. Some with parties, some with other activities. Let's say they couldn't do anymore, or also job related. But like, for example, I said I had a little party break, and that was also right before the pandemic started. And then I remember my best friend sitting there, and he was really, really like mad and also sad. And I couldn't really understand why this was the one topic why he was so sad. And now where I'm really back to this like normal routine of going to parties a lot and meeting a lot of friends and hearing a lot of music and really spending a lot of time there. Now I can really understand, and that's actually really kind of nice also, because it feels like coming home, you know.
Very well said.
Also, what I really, really like is like when you get older, you have less time for like to meet people or to, as I said, like to meet people actually, because you're working, you have other stuff to do. And if you're going out, you meet people without making an appointment for it, you know, like you're coming there as it is. Like as said, it's like your home. You're coming there and you meet all the people. Sometimes you're surprised to see people because you don't expect them to see each other. But often when you're going to the same spots, let's say, you see also the same people. Which
is what I love.
Super, super nice. Yeah, me too.
Because like you don't make appointments, the appointments like make themselves on their own, and you just like, hey, you just go out and you don't see some people for years. But just like, let's say a few months, and then you know, like, hey, if I go there, you can go alone in some clubs and you will meet people that you know. Totally. And this makes the good parties. And you don't need to meet these people outside. Like you were talking about appointments, and we have like we're all busy. We have appointments all the time, doing stuff, and just like there's something I experience is like to be very busy in general. Like to be more busy because I have to meet my friends. I hate to make appointments outside of that because it distresses me even more than my job, because I live from my passion, and this is like having social responsibility becomes my like a factor of stress. Yeah. How do you experience? Like, do you experience that? How do you manage your work hobby life, work balance?
I'm very structured, I have to say, and that sounds super, super weird now, but I use my calendar like for everything. Like my calendar is for all the appointments or the meetings I'm planning with friends. My work calendar. And all this, because I do forget it otherwise. So I put everything in there, so I have the full overview. Also put parties in there. Like if I want to go to a particular party, I also add it to my calendar, for example, or any other events or things I want to do. Yeah.
What's the secret to have this balance between social life, work, and friends? Like let's call it partying. So we have the three.
You mean partying and friends?
Events, work, and friends.
So work, I mean, what I have to say, like I'm having I don't want to call it 9 to 5 because it's not 9 to 5, but I have a more structured day maybe than you might have as an artist. So I do have my normal work times, let's say. So this is already giving me kind of a stability in my planning, let's say. And the then I'm planning a lot of things with friends, going out as, for example, for dinner, or having a drink, after work drink, or stuff like that. And then weekends I always try to keep quite open.
So
And that's
please excuse my interruption, just to make it clear. So we might have like two different schedules, is what I'm asking. When you say fixed times, like structured, is like you say you don't have a 9 to 5, but the 9 to 5 is like you have fixed working time that you won't change. Like you will start at a certain time and finish after a certain time. And until then, like outside of that, you won't do this activity, like in that case, work.
kind of course.
Okay.
Sometimes I start earlier, and sometimes there's a lot to do, so I need to work a bit longer. I think that's quite normal, but I would say the time frame is almost the same always. Okay. It's not that I can just start at, I don't know, lunchtime and then end whenever I want. So
sounds like my schedule.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. But I don't know if I could do it like that. But I also had a very, very nice conversation with a friend of mine who's also freelancer, and I think his day is starting pretty late, but he's of course then also like working until very, very late. And he just asked me the question like, "What are you doing after 6 o'clock?" I'm like, "Meeting friends, having dinner and stuff like that." And he was like, "I wouldn't know." That was a very weird moment when he said like, "I wouldn't know what to do after 6 o'clock."
Yeah.
Because it's super different. Very interesting as well.
Yeah. So during the weeks, you meet friends as well and going to restaurant, bars. No, I don't guess you drink during the week.
After work, drink is okay, I would say.
I'll be a typical German
sometimes. Every now and then. Yes, not every day, of course, but
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When is the correct? But because wait, party started on Friday. They finished on Monday. After party on Tuesday. So from Wednesday, it's okay to drink again.
No comment.
No, okay. And what does your career look like? 10 years is a pretty long way, or a lot that can happen in all of this. Like what brought you to Berlin? How was it for you to work here? The work-life balance, or like the work-club balance? Yeah. What impact does your work have on the clubbing and the other way around? Like, is there any impact?
So I started my career or work life, let's say, in Berlin because I got a job here and then I started. Also very funny because I met my closest friends at work at my first job. For example, my best friend is still my best friend and I know him from work. This was the first person I met in Berlin.
Sweet.
Very sweet, yeah. And then of course it started, and also going out started. But I'm really glad that I always found a good balance and never had like huge hangovers. And I know my limit, let's say it like that, and I have it under control. So I know when it should end. Or I know how to maybe also put my times. So I like, for example, partying on Sundays during the day because you don't ruin your Sunday nights or your like sleeping rhythm and stuff like that. So you can go out early and then leave at, 12 at midnight, for example, and then you like quite normal on Mondays. Which is a good strategy to keep that in balance, actually.
Sleep is a huge thing. I started the same, and I see a big difference since I kind of stopped to go out on a Saturday night. Now I only do it for some friends when I do it, because like I really learned to enjoy sleep even more than I did before.
They're getting older, right?
Yeah, but I think as well, but I really think on my side it's more, I'm working like 6 days a week than 5, but I'm not working because it's my passion. And I put all the energy in that. This is also why we sit here, why we do what we're doing and talk about what we're doing it, because it's It's my life. It's literally, this project is what I've done in the 7 past years, and I absolutely want to continue. So like, even when I'm going out, I'm going to talk about it, and people, like, I mean, we've been to the club together and we're sitting here talking about it, you know? So it's kind of, there is a never ending story about all this. And there is more, okay, how can I be better? How can I optimize my life, like not lifestyle, but how I live, like by eating healthier, by cooking myself, by doing a lot of sports, by sleeping a lot as well. But I see, like, since I'm not going out on Saturday nights anymore, but only Sundays, day over, I sleep less but better.
Yeah.
And also with to have a healthy consume, doesn't matter if it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, like with having done a little bit of everything, just like all these experiences, now I know what's the best for me, and I cut off many things, and I'm living a healthy lifestyle nowadays, and I've never been as productive as right now.
Yeah.
And it's something like so many people like experience in different ways. How was your experience?
Yeah, as said, of course there were there were days or nights where I recognized, like, the next day when I had to work, like, oh, that was a bit too much, or to like I didn't sleep enough or stuff like that. I mean, we are still young, or I was young back then also. And I still survived and did my job well. But yeah, I think I also found my way to do it best. And as you said, like, also doing sports then, and don't go completely overboard is helping a lot there. And to know, like, hey, I have this one life, which is my job, and I also want to be successful in my job, and or get the energy out of that, or be passionate and stuff like that. So I know for what I'm doing that, you know. So it's less. It's not that that I have to force myself for that, because I'm doing that because I want to do it, and I like what I do at my job. But also there's this other life of liking going out, and also going out long, or going out a lot. But I think, as said, if you find the right way for yourself, then you can bring everything together and balance it out. And that's super nice.
Yeah, that's the ideal way at the end, as I just said, that you find, like, everyone's reacting differently to all these factors, and like everyone has their own, and if you can figure out what's good for you and what's not, then you literally can do everything and you're unbeatable. Because, like, if the weekend gives you the energy for the week, how many artists I have, like, in my friends that are telling me, like, hey, I have a job under the week, like, even if it's like just 1 or 2 days, but like on the weekend they have a gig, like they've traveled, because it's also something as DJs, like all these people travel so much, and you have, like, for some even like on longer traveling, like with planes or with trains, and like you have jet lag, etc. But still on Monday morning, like even if it's 10 or midday or whatever, they're fresh and they are so energized because of what they've experienced over the weekend. So it's not necessarily because you sleep less, but more about the quality of the rest of your life that you can make even better.
Yeah, that's true, and I think people are getting their energy out of, like, different things, and for us it's music and seeing friends, and going to places where we like to be and can be ourselves also. I mean, this is a big topic as well. We can make a huge thing out of that now, or talk a lot about that. But I think the point is that, as said, for us, this clubbing is giving us that much energy and that much balance in our lives, that it just keeps us up for our normal life. Let's say it like that. Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, I when I used to work as a graphic designer, I had it like that, but right now it's more like a kind of, hey, it's more kind of, I'm gonna expand my personality and my business also with it. But this made me, literally, these experiences made me the person I am today.
Yeah.
So I am Jonathan because of the clubs, literally.
Yeah.
So just about like it opened my mind about many things, and like coming from a part of Switzerland that is relatively conservative, we could say, to come in Berlin was a kind of proper aha moment, to stay politically correct. And 7 years later, it's like so nice to be able to talk about all this and to bring people like you or like many others we had or like we will have on this to talk about it, because like it's so important like to share everything that we're living, where we're from, why it's so important that what we're living here is like the difference it can do. And I mean, you have a totally different history from mine and like from all the people around us, and this makes the scene what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, it can also change always, right? But I think what you've said is also that you meet so many different people and hear so many different stories, and they may at one point maybe give you ideas of how you want to live, maybe, or they can also show you what you don't want in your life. And for us, it's clubbing. For others, it can be any other activity. Their sports club, where they meet people and talk about their lives or their different ways of living.
Of course.
So yeah, I think it's super, super nice that we can talk about clubbing in this way and not just like, yeah, I'm going out to parties and I party a lot and that's it. I think there's so much more behind that.
Absolutely.
And it's super nice that you make this project out of that also, to show that to people that maybe don't understand that yet. And that's also not in a bad way, meant in a bad way.
Let's talk about please, sorry.
And because people, as said, experience it in different ways, and we might not understand, I don't know, gardening clubs or something. You know what I mean?
Everyone, no, of course.
But if they would like take us to their lives, maybe we would understand that then better.
But I think like in the club scene, like what we are experiencing right now, or like since years, there's also this kind of freedom that opens your eyes about how free you can be, and be careful about the judgments you have on others, like opinions or prejudices or whatever your mind is trying to tell you, and that it's not necessarily the right thing. And this is something how I think like it's a big chance with drugs or like that happened. This personally happened to me like at the beginning of my stay in Berlin. It opened my mind through these experiences, through the clubs. It was okay. I've never thought that it would be possible to live this life. And like nowadays, if I would be able to talk with my younger self, I would be like, holy crap, this is fucking amazing. And this is really something I wish everyone on earth is like, to find something or a project or a job or whatever, a career or just a life, friends, whatever, where you can be balanced and to experience this and just like to design your life and to make it perfectly tailored for you and your needs. Because I tend to think that we don't put enough importance on mental health, especially that mental health can be, how do you say, that you can get through the clubs and through clubbing, and this is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Word.